everybody, happy Teensy Tuesday. It is currently freezing in Florida, so I have my big sweatshirt on and I'm so nice and cozy, and I am excited to make this video for you guys today. So it's a video that's been much requested in my comments and through my Instagram. If you like this style of video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, I put out new videos every Tuesday, so you can look forward to more and more and more content from me. Go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss anything important. The video that I'm gonna make today is all about what we got to eat on the Disney Cruise Line as crew members. So people are always asking me, oh, did you get to eat the same food as guests? Where did I eat? When did I get a chance to eat? Did I have to pay for my food? And I'm gonna answer all of your questions in this video, so here we go. So I worked on the Disney Dream as a fairy godmother in training in 2017 and 2018. So when I lived on the ship, the very first day, one of the first places they take you is the crew mess. And the crew mess is basically just like a cafeteria, same as if you were at college or anything like that. You walk in and on the left-hand side, there is a buffet line, and then you can go in and sit down. So the great thing about eating on Disney Cruise Line as a crew member is that it is completely free. So your food is free to you. You can eat as much as you want, as often as you want, and you don't have to pay for it. I think that's why they pay you so little, is because they pay for your room and board and also your food. So the buffet does serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They are closed some hours and open some hours as well. Obviously, like anything, you could miss breakfast or miss lunch or miss dinner depending on your hours and when you work. So they have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then they also have late night. So I'm gonna go through and tell you kind of everything that they serve there. So for breakfast, usually what they have is white rice, definitely. A staple in all crew meals is white rice. There is white rice served. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and late night, there's always white rice. You can always get white rice. White rice. For breakfast, I remember, from what I remember, they had sausages, hot dogs usually, hard-boiled eggs. Sometimes they had like melons, and then in the back of the mess, so like through where you sit in the dining hall, there's like a little section where you can get drinks and stuff, and they had cereal back there. Those are the only like main things that I remember from breakfast. I know there were a few other things, but I can't remember what they served. I never ate breakfast in the mess. I think I ate breakfast in the mess the first week, and then after that, there was just no time, so I would just always have like a granola bar from my room. Lunch, I pretty much ate every day. As soon as you walk in to the buffet, so it matches up on both sides. So it's like a continuous buffet line, but both sides are the same, so they meet in the middle. There's always a salad bar. The salad bar was pretty decent. There was always either like iceberg lettuce or spinach, and then a few toppings and a few salad dressing options. And then there were like rolls with little pats of butter. And then lunch kind of changed daily, but there was usually always an Indian option. So like a chana masala or some sort of like chickpea something, and then a soup. So there's always a soup, and it's usually the soup that they served for guests as well. So there was like the carrot ginger soup, or like whatever random vegetable, cauliflower soup, broccoli soup. And then my favorite was the lentil soup that they had, but some days they would add hot dog in it, so I couldn't eat it because I don't eat meat. So that was always the worst, when I was like, yes, lentil soup. And then you'd get there and it had hot dogs in it. And I was like, why would they put hot dogs in it? Just keep going, white rice, of course. And then there was always some kind of like fish option, usually like fried fish. I don't know what kind of fish, but it was usually just like a fried fish. Sometimes during lunch, you could ask for a veggie burger, which is what I did a lot. They also usually had hamburgers for lunch as well, and then they usually had some sort of pasta dish. So that was lunch. And then dinner is basically the same exact thing. Usually a meat option and a fish option, salad, pasta, and bread, and rice, and hot dogs. And the dinner and lunch were basically one and the same. But then late night comes around. So late night is like basically like second dinner. It's around midnight because servers in the restaurants kind of miss dinner because they work dinner, and then that's like their dinner. Late night had like all the good stuff, and it was stuff from like the dining rooms that wasn't eaten. So like they would always have this souffle with like sausage in it. You could get ramen at late night. They would have like the noodles in a cup for the microwave that you could take and heat up yourself. That was awesome. They always had what we called garbage pizza. It was like really awful pizza, and like all of us would always joke like if you ate it you'd get like sores on your mouth, because like you really would. I don't know why. I think it's because the crust was like literally a piece of cardboard. But you usually would go to late night for the pizza. And then we would usually go to late night and get hot chocolate. So there were like hot chocolate packets by the drinks, which was nice. So like we would go together and just have a little hot chocolate date and sit there and hang out. It's also like a fun thing to do at night if you're not doing anything, because like everybody's kind of there just hanging out. So there's just kind of like a mix and match of whatever's available. Also at lunch and dinner time, in the back of the mess, they have like a cold bar with like some cold salads and slaws, and then they have like some different desserts, whatever it is that day, Jello or mousse. Yeah. So for me in the beginning, if you've seen my Embark Day video or my video with Rochelle, my first week being on board, I'm like, the food is so good, the food is so good. You get sick of that food so fast because it's literally all you can eat. So at first, like literally the first 2 weeks, I was like, this is great. And then after that, I was like, oh my God. So that brings me to my next point, food that you can eat in your room, or food that you can bring into your room. So you can buy food when you get off in Port Canaveral or wherever. You can buy, not pre-made food, but you can buy food from like a grocery store. But there's like a list of rules. So it has to be like a non-perishable food item. It cannot be dairy, fruit, vegetables, anything like that, because it breaks some sort of law, and you can be fined like a lot of money if they find fruits or vegetables or cheese or milk or anything like that in your room. So you can get like huge trouble for that and probably get fired. I would go off and buy like Lara bars and peanuts and like chips, just things like that that I could munch on in my room, because when you only have a 1 hour break, the last thing you want to do is run to the mess, get your food, sit down, eat it, go back, you just want to sleep. So like I would just sit in my room and like eat snacks and then fall asleep. So you can bring on food, but it has to be like bagged snacks. Also, if you're very lucky and you're in a role that has, it depends on like what kind of privilege you have on the ship. So like as a ferry, I got to access a little bit more of the ship than somebody who was like galley, which was awesome because I was able to like go upstairs. You're not allowed to eat anywhere in a guest area at all unless you get permission. This is like so important because you will get fired for that. If you watch my scheduling video, I talk about like early and late starts. So if you do welcome line or reservations in the morning, you got an 8 o'clock finish. So with that 8 o'clock finish, you can apply to go to Palo. So sometimes got approved, sometimes it didn't, but on nights that it did, for those of you who don't know, Palo is the guests' adult only dining. It's like very bougie, very chic, Italian themed, like multi-course meal. And so you get like an appetizer, a meal, a dessert. You can't drink in any guest areas like alcohol, but you can have like, you know, something cute and fruity. That was always like so fun. And plus when you get that like delicious, when you're getting like lobster, pasta, and like a chocolate souffle, it's like, I remember, and I've said this story in another video as well, but as I mentioned all the food, you probably didn't hear me say any fruits or vegetables were served in the mess because usually they're not. So I remember being in Palo like 2 months into my first contract, and like there was a blueberry on the sorbet, and I remember eating the blueberry and just being like, this is what fresh fruit tastes like. It was such a magical moment for me. So there's Palo. There were 2 instances when I signed my friends on Port Canaveral Day. So I would have like a few hours after load and before I started my shift where I would have like Shannon come on the boat. And I had Shannon and her mom once, and Shannon and Casey come once, and then we got to go up to Cabanas and eat, which is the guest-only buffet, but I had to get a permission slip signed to be able to do that. But when you do get to do it, it's so nice because you get to eat the guest food, which is like so good. And the ferries as well, we got to eat at Flo's, which is like the pizza, burger joint upstairs for guests sometimes if like we were lucky and we got a sheet signed, we were allowed to do that. So That all being said, there were also some times when we had like incentive parties. So like say we met a goal that we were trying to reach in the boutique, our managers would throw us a party and they would always ask us like, what do you guys want to eat? Like whatever you want. So we would always be like cheese, vegetables, fruit. Like that's what we want because that's like nothing that we get in the mess. So they would always bring us up like a fruit plate and jalapeno poppers. We'd always eat jalapeno poppers. And it was kind of like that food that you get at the, if you guys are familiar with the Disney ships, there's like that little buffet at night with like the kind of fried foods. Like they would be like that food. So all in all, it wasn't terrible, but the mess does get boring after a while. If you're used to certain foods, if you really like white rice, it's good. I met so many people who had been on the ship for a very long time who just like knew how to work it. Like they brought all their own sauces and spices and they would go into the mess and like get rice and like make all these concoctions or like bring on noodles and make themselves soup. I also knew a girl who was vegan and she even had like her own Instagram page for her vegan food in the mess. And she did what she had to do. You have to make do with what you can make do with, honestly, because it's your only source of nutrition. So I'm not saying it was horrible, not saying it was fantastic either. That is all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you guys like it, go ahead and put a thumbs up so I know that you like it and you want more stuff like this. And if you're not subscribed, every Tuesday I'm coming out with a new video. So it'd be great if you could subscribe and follow along with me if you liked this video. If you guys have any other questions about cruise line, I am like knocking out the videos right now, so let me know now and I will get something done for you, or I will answer your question in the comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Tuesday. Bye.